Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. This is Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Thank you for joining us today on the week-ending edition of the program. As you already know, Femi Ojo is my name. Thank you for being with us all week. We appreciate your company. By the way, we look at the headlines on the program, reeling out choose headlines from our major dailies every day on the program. And at the other side of that, we then get talking. And that is exactly what we are going to do on the program today. Again, but before we do all that, it's been quite an eventful week, by the way, nationally, subnationally, and the political scene. Statistics upon statistics, a report upon report, talking about World Bank reports saying one thing or another, the policy of the government, if it's working, if it's not working, how long it will take for Nigerians to reap the fruit. The report came out of the World Bank and said maybe it might take up to 15 years for Nigeria of consistency, by the way, of government in charge to keep pushing. And maybe after 15 years, Nigerians will get to reap the fruit. And, many persons will say we don't have all that time. Our hands want to see improvement right now. The issue with the petroleum pricing and the rest of it, the NNPCL, being reported to say they have hands off the sole buy, agreement with the Dangote refinery, although there wasn't any official statement to that. Marketers, coming out yesterday to say that's not true. They are still the ones, selling to us. We don't have the right to buy at the moment, and Dangote refinery being said that they might have to be, sourcing for their product from Grenada, or exporting outside the country, by the way. It's a business. A lot of things to talk about. Then the judiciary has been in focus, especially with some of the court orders, judgment, verdict that have been seen from different states, contradictory in nature. If you want to add to that, we'll be looking into that in the course of the program and what some leaders said yesterday at different fora about the role of the judiciary and why they need to put their legs on the ground to really help this democracy, especially in the face of these confusing, annoying, if you want to use that particular word, and really not helping kind of contradictory judgment we are having, especially from courts of same jurisdiction, coordinate jurisdiction, using the same laws of our land to adjudicate on the same matter, giving different results in the same case, or similar cases. These are some of the issues. And yesterday, news had it that in the ongoing war between Israel, led by Benjamin Netanyahu against Hezbollah, against Hamas leaders, and Hamas, key leader Yahya Sinwar, has been eliminated. It was quite a battle, by the way. The video, has gone viral now. How he was identified, quite embarrassing, by the way. The picture of the body, DNA results, and Israelis saying yes, they have done this. The United States of America as well. The President Joe Biden released a statement to say the world will be safer with the elimination of Yahya and the Hamas leader. Israel will be safer. United States will be safer. The world will be safer. But then this is a developing story as well. That's from the Middle East. But then coming home, we'll be talking about things that has to do with this nation or Nigeria as well. Because what we do here is to have conversations that has to do with the betterment of this great nation of ours. Policy, politics, governance, economy, agriculture, everything. Speaking to critical stakeholders that has something to do. You, distinguished Nigerians and residents of this great nation for Nigeria. And if you are ready, I am ready as well. The program will continue shortly. Stay with me. All right. Thank you for staying with me on this day. Let me pick it up from the page of the newspaper, the front page of the newspaper this day. And we have these World Bank to federal government conduct audit to reconcile what NNPC owes Federation. That's on the front page of this day newspaper. World Bank to federal government conduct audit to reconcile what NNPC owes Federation. With a lot of headlines, riders rather. Global Bank seeks improved reporting of oil revenues to FAR. Global Bank seeks improved reporting of oil revenues to FAR. Says reforms challenging but crucial for nation's long-term stability. And 12 million more Nigerians may sleep into poverty. Bank project again, 12 million more Nigerians may sleep into poverty. I take that again. 12 million more Nigerians may sleep into poverty. Bank project and Edu PMS now fully deregulated after 40 years. Really? Fully deregulated. Just a few months ago, we had about shortfall in place of subsidy. Okay, fully deregulated. That means the government is paying nothing, handling nothing, and it's based solely on the principle of, market demand and supply, market forces thing. That's what it means for a sector to be fully deregulated. Okay, I hope we won't be back here in the next few months and then have a similar story, and handlers of government would try and explain it away again as usual. Right, and Bala Mohammed, economic reforms not working, Nigerians may lynch us. Bala Mohammed is the governor of Bauchi State, and he said, the economy, policy of the government, the reforms are being, mounted here and there, is not working, and the people may lynch them. Okay, I think maybe he might be right after all, because things they are not too far away from doing that. From the people doing that, the government handlers, because they are hungry, they are angry and frustrated, and they can't see any light at the end of any tunnel. By the way, that is if there is any tunnel at all. Moving on from that bottom strip, strategic engagement, that is the picture below that that has to do with the deputy governor, economic policy of the central bank, Mr. Mohammed Sani Abdullahi, the CBN governor, Mr. Olaimi Cardoso, the chairman, chief executive officer of JP Morgan Chase and Co., that is James Demon, and the deputy governor, operations of the Central Bank of Nigeria, which is the chief financial regulator, Ms. Usoro, when Mr. Dimon led a team from JP Morgan on a strategic visit to the head office of the CBN in Abuja on Wednesday. Moving away from that, Sanwo-Olu, Anyoko, family, others extol Nwayau's virtues at tributes night. All right, and you can see the picture beside that of some eminent men and women. Lagos State Governor Jide Sanwo-Olu, Deputy Leader Fenifere Obadi or Laiton, former Secretary General of Commonwealth Chief Emeka Anyoko, and a lot of others. Former Ogun State Governor Otumba Olusegun Oshoba, retired Commodore Ibitu Kiwe, and the family of the deceased during the service of songs for late President General of the Ohanese and Igbo Worldwide, Chief Emmanuel Nwayao, held at the Eco Hotels and Suites in Lagos. Now, top three. In Sweden, Shetima woos investors to Nigeria's growing business climate. In Sweden, Shetima woos investors to Nigeria's growing business climate with a rider, Glua, to invest $100 million. Others commit to multi-million dollar tech hubs, MSMEs, and agriculture. Okay, we hope that is done very quickly. And Dangote's wealth doubles to $28 billion on new 650,000 barrels per day oil refinery. Take that again. Dangote's wealth doubles to 28 billion US dollars on new 650,000 barrels per day oil refinery. $28 billion. 8 billion US dollars. That's a lot of money and asset. By the way, moving on. Nigerian Tribune is next. Nigerian Tribune, a newspaper. Federal government reforms get knocks. Kudos as World Bank releases a report. That will be on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. With riders, reversing reforms will hurt economy. World Bank reforms not working. Bauchi Governor, we have been discussing how to stay on course. Finance Minister. Forex unification encourages exports. CBN Governor. And 12 million more Nigerians to join labor market by 2034. Still on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. Below that, Osun State Governor, Senator Ademola Adeleke, the Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Enito Ogunwusi, Ojaja III, and the Elegushi of Ikate Elegushi Kingdom, Oba Saheed Ademola, at the 50th birthday celebration of Oba Ogunwusi in Ile-Ife on Thursday. Long live the king. And away from that, we will see lower petrol price soon if we will see lower petrol price soon if that's coming from the LCCI, Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industries. All right. If you want to know if the condition, a pick up the copy of the paper. Now, many injured as CNG vehicle explodes in Edo. Presidential CNG initiative blames explosion on illegally modified vehicle. Mm. And many persons, have been a bit more apprehensive since that story broke on the pictures and the video leaked on the internet yesterday, especially with that explosion. Because when many persons are encouraging, one another to say this is the way to go, maybe we should do the conversion switch from the combustible engine fueled by the PMS to this, compressed natural gas for the CNG. And boom, that incident happened in Edo State yesterday. But many persons, and I think the presidential CNG initiative is blaming that on illegal conversion. So maybe if you are going for that, the modification or the conversion should be taken to real specialists so that you don't end up dying or causing havoc, that is avoidable, by the way. You should really. Now, how do you identify the people, technically efficient persons who will certify, the conversion? These are the issues as well. All right, and here, Supreme Court ruled EFCC and ICPC lawful. Falano replies Agbakova. All right, this is a word of word between Leonard Six, former NBA president, Olisa Agbakova, and Leonard C. Femi Falano, SAN as well. Supreme Court ruled EFCC, ICPC lawful. Falano replies Agbakova. All right, I think these are legal, conversations going on, and with the right persons. When I mean the right persons as well, members of the bar as well, having conversation on these as well, because former NBA president Olisa Agbakova, seem to have another opinion that the law establishing the EFCC, the ICPC, is not consistent with the grand norm. And so, but Femi Falana has another opinion that possibly will be tested in court. By the way, Kogi state government and other state governments have gone to court, to test that, and to set it aside as well to say EFCC and ICPC, being an agency of the federal government, should not have anything to do with things that has to do with state because of the law establishing them. But by the way, October 22 has been set as the day for the Supreme Court to look into the matter. Moving on, Lagos Assembly to replace 37 LCDAs with administrative areas. Okay, because many persons have been asking about the stature of the LCDAs. Now that the Supreme Court has said only local government areas that have elected officials will be attended to. So what happened to the LCDAs? Lagos has 37, Osun has some as well. Many states has LCDAs. So who takes care of them? But it's been reported by the Nigerian Tribune that Lagos Assembly, they're already planning to make those LCDAs administrative areas. All right. JAMB allows varsities to admit 16-year-old candidates till August 2025. Okay. This is, maybe a waiver now. JAMB allows varsities to admit 16-year-old candidates till August 2025. You know what has been said before that from next year, um, admission seeking students, candidates that are not up to 18 years should not give it a try because you must be 18 before you enter Nigeria higher institutions, especially universities. But it's been reported maybe 16-year-olds still have a chance in 2025 August. Now, bottom strip, corrupt security personnel selling weapons to criminals. NSA. Corrupt security personnel selling weapons to criminals. NSA, with a rider, says a sizable number of illicit arms originally belonged to the government. Okay, this from the NSA. And there is one individual with an office that is expected to know what he and what that office they are saying. So the question Nigerians will be asking is, who are they? What is the federal government doing on that? Shouldn't we, in as much this information is available to the NSA, the office, and the top guys, instead of coming out with this information, many persons will say, why don't you make your move? Possibly a 6-month project to really find out who these people are, nab them, nab their suppliers, the ones demanding the cartel or the racketeers, of these weapons, and then you come out. Now that you have come out with the information, don't you think the people doing that might stop it or find another means of circumventing the process? But then, as they say, what do I know? Moving on. Federal government issues flood alerts, urges residents to relocate from Niger and Benue riverbanks. Okay, I think these advocacy, these flood alert messages should be rammed all through the day, all through the night in many indigenous languages, and we should be on the matter. And as we say on this program, it's not just telling the people to leave, it's that provision of where they are to live to, where they are to put up, at least temporarily, not just telling people to leave because uncertainty will make some persons to dare it and say, where am I moving to? When you are telling people to leave, is there a provision that you can use to help them and so that the discomfort, inconvenience will be cushioned a bit? But then people should listen. If you are on the river bank, River Niger, River Benue, please, danger is looming. You should take heed now. Now, federal government receives 846,000 doses of malaria vaccines, target 13% reduction. 846,000 doses of malaria. Now, imagine in Nigeria without malaria. How good would that be, really, in Nigeria without malaria at all? So, what you're saying is once you take the vaccine, you stand a high chance of not, falling ill to malaria. I think many Nigerians will like that because malaria is doing a lot of havoc. All right, that will be all from the Nigerian Tribune for today. We take a leap now and move to The Guardian for today. The Guardian newspaper. End SARS protest at 4. Is specter of abuses, bad leadership still haunting 4 years after, you remember, the NSAS situation, which is widely remembered by so many persons, especially with the SARS situation across the country, which has to do with lynching, of, some individuals, even some men in uniform were lynched as well. But, the epicenter was the Lekki corridor with what happened with the back and forth with the shooting, alleged shooting or of Nigerian youth by men of the Nigerian army. which has been denied over and over. A panel of inquiry was put up, and they made a submission at the end of the day. But 4 years later, the question is, what has changed? October 20, was that, the real D-Day around the evening. It started across the country early October, and the jury is out, by the way. Now, 4 years later, a specter of abuses, bad leadership still haunting, you know, and these are the issues as well. You could see the justice, the depiction of the justice, which usually have the blindfold, the scale on one side, the sword on another hand. And you could see here a big hand with a big thumb holding the cloth, the regalia of the justice symbol. And you can see on the cuff of that particular hand the logo of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and UK. And so panel recommendations, NSARS, and bad governance, all of those reports caught up in a web, and the cloth of the justice that's supposed to do the needful is being held back by the hand and the big thumb of the government, as depicted through this picture by the Guardian. You make of what you want with this information and this picture right there from the Guardian. Now, 129 million Nigerians living below poverty line, says World Bank. Through this week, it's been from one report to the other from the World Bank. Listen to these again. Watch these rather. 129 million Nigerians living below poverty line, not around, below poverty line. And this is what from the World Bank as well. Many persons will dispute that. Many will agree. Many will even say maybe we have more. Now, averagely, we have been mouthing 200 million as our, or maybe more than that, as our population figure. Now, if 129 out of 200 million are living below poverty line, I'm sure this should be a thing of shame for people administering, governance at each level. It's not a federal thing now. State, local governments, leaders at all levels, and it's seeming, it looks like a failure. 129 million people, 4 out of 200 million. These are the issues as well. It's coming from the World Bank, and either you agree or not. Federal government orders residents to relocate from flood-prone River Benue and River Niger areas. I said this earlier. An ex-senior corps storm PSC over alleged abandonment, poor pay. Ex-senior corps, as a former, senior police officers, storm PSC as Police Service Commission over alleged abandonment and poor pay. These are the people that have served the country, with their uniform, sticking to the security of lives and properties, and retired as senior officers. Now they are saying they have been abandoned and their pay has been poor. Is as well. Now, what message does this send? Does this particular action of the former senior police officers, what message does this send to those that are in service right now? Because if you are seeing people that are retired complaining about abandonment, complaining about poor pay, and you are in service, I think you can do the math yourself. Is that encouraging for those that are in service? Won't those that are in service look for, something outside what they are entitled to secure a future for themselves? Because nobody wants to be abandoned. And we are not talking about junior officers. We are talking about senior officers who retired complaining about abandonment. I think, the authorities should do better or investigate the matter. Possibly the authority are trying their best, and there is a system that is not making that to show. I think we need to know. And here, JAM relaxes admission age policy for 2024-25 academic session. We read that earlier. And the political scene, APC accused of meddling ahead of 2027 polls as PDP, LP, real from internal crisis. These are the issues as well. APC, the ruling party at the center, Labour Party, we said they are ready for pure opposition, and the PDP as well. All of these parties having their issues. And revenue shrinks as federal governments, state, local governments share 1.298 trillion naira. The fact 1.298 trillion naira. And lastly, bills for independent candidacy, New South State scale second reading. All right, I think maybe we are heading towards something unprecedented in the annals of our nation. Independent candidacy, where do you stand? Okay, all right. Many persons say maybe we have gotten to that level that an individual can have a base, a support base, a fan base that is so big that has cut across everywhere that it can go all the way without needing the support of a political party. Of course, it's a constitutional thing and a new state from the South as well. All right, that will be all from The Guardian. And lastly, for today, The Punch newspaper on the headline segment. I will reel it out very fastly. Skyrocketing inflation. Nigerians lament hunger. One by World Bank says 129 million trapped in poverty. Hmm. Commodities price jumped 45.92% under Tinubu as small business owners lament downturn. Commodities price jumped 45.92% under Tinubu as small business owners lament downturn. Okay. And below that, the visit of the JP Morgan guys to the CBN headquarters. And beside that, government orders discos to replace phased out meters. Please do that. Okay. And when federal government is ordering, who is enforcing? These are the issues. Somebody should enforce these things, not just give the order and you go to sleep. Okay. Discos should replace phased out meters. So if you're having meters that are having issues, you deserve a brand new one, so that you won't be shortchanged or you yourself be shortchanging the system. Now, sadly, cholera has killed 378. Cases rise to 14,237 NCDC in 2024. Cases of cholera, many persons will say, majorly due to outbreak of issues and maybe hygiene not taken too seriously. These are the issues, and has killed 378. And top strip, OPS, that's organized private sector, carpet Tinubu reforms. CSOs demand cabinet shake-up. Many persons have been expecting cabinet shake-up. The president, when he was appointing them, even appointed a class captain, or you call her a class monitress, on this Bala Usman, Adiza Bala Usman, to be the one that will be reviewing the work. Now, almost 1 year after, what has the cabinet guys done? Many persons are calling for a shake-up and a change. And tanker explosion, federal government promises to rebuild raced Jigawa town. Federal government promises to rebuild raced Jigawa town. That's coming from that sad incident that had, tanker exploded and, raced people, burnt people that were trying to scoop fuel. An NIMC boss gets accolades for improved staff welfare. Good one. And finally, Rivers offers 100 scholarships as Wigwe Varsity takes out. The project of the late Herbert Wigwe. River State are giving 100 scholarships, as that varsity takes off. All right, all the best. Now, by the way, that will be all, on the segment for today and for the week. We take this quick break now. When we return, we'll be talking about the judiciary and matters arising, especially for the past few months or, for a while now, contradictory judgment, politically motivated court verdict, as, that was the language used by former President Goodluck Jonathan at an event yesterday, that the judiciary has a big role to play if actually this democracy that we are practicing will be entrenched and it will go the right way. Rivers Governor Sim Fubara at another fora, talked about this as well. Yes, about the pressure on the judiciary and why they have to really stand their ground so that they are not pushed here and there by quote unquote paymasters. We'll look into these and more, and we'll be joined by our guest at the other side of this breather. Stay with me.